Greta Gerwig has had a meteoric rise unlike anything we've seen. From her budgets to her box office, the numbers keep going up. To an extent, she followed in the footsteps of someone like Ben Affleck and Clint Eastwood. Like them, she started off by acting in films before finally moving into directing them. Her career is an almost perfect case of going from indie to mid-budget to big budget and serves as a decent roadmap for any would-be filmmaker. One of her first acting roles was in 2006's LOL, directed by Joe Swanberg on a budget of just $3,000. She served as writer on Hannah Takes the Stairs, also directed by Swanberg, and co-directed with him on Nights and Weekends, which cost just $15,000. All three of these were part of the mumblecore movement in indie film, which emphasized naturalistic acting and dialogue as well as low or modest budgets. While reception for Hannah Takes the Stairs was divided, Nights and Weekends was well received. But something odd happened. Gerwig stopped directing for close to a decade. She served as writer on several more films, like Northern Comfort, Frances Ha, and Mistress America, but it wouldn't be until 2017 that she released her first solo directorial effort, Lady Bird. What was she doing in the meanwhile? Simple, she was acting. And wow, did she act. Between 2008 and 2017, she had more than 24 roles in a variety of films. The House of the Devil, Greenberg, The Dish and the Spoon, Damsels in Distress, Eden, Maggie's Plan, Jackie, and 20th Century Women. It was a hard go of it at the beginning. She was an indie darling but still hadn't achieved mainstream success, which is something that she wanted. There's an interesting quote from her agent in a New Yorker article by Alex Barash entitled "After Barbie, Mattel is raiding its entire toy box." In it, her agent, Jeremy Barber, notes that he and Gerwig have been consciously crafting her career together. In the piece he says, quote, "Her ambition is to be not the biggest woman director, but a big studio director," end quote. People get weird when it comes to artists making money, as though it's a given that as soon as an artist wants to make money from their craft, it somehow undermines their craft. I don't think that's the case, and I think it's a good thing that Gerwig is an ambitious director. You need to be ambitious if you think you're capable of directing a film, after all. Take a look at James Cameron. Cameron did exactly one independent film, Xenogenesis, and one odd case film, Piranha 2. Everything else was a studio picture. Steven Spielberg did one independent film, Firelight, and plenty of shorts like Amblin. But after Firelight, it was all studio pictures, thanks to a long-term contract with Universal. Christopher Nolan made an indie film, Following, and then also got to working with studios. It's a well-trodden path, and I think she's proven herself in indie and mid-budget films long enough and well enough that she's earned the right to direct big-budget films. She began to earn that with 2017's Lady Bird, her first solo directorial effort. Starring Saoirse Ronan, the movie had a modest budget of just $10 million and grossed a phenomenal $79 million. It showed three things: that Greta Gerwig could act, that she could write, and that she could direct. That film was met with universal acclaim, with A.O. Scott describing it as, quote, "big screen perfection," end quote. At the 90th Academy Awards, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay for Gerwig, Best Actress for Ronan, and Best Actress in a Supporting Role for Laurie Metcalf. Gerwig had proven herself as a Renaissance woman. 2019's Little Women, based on the book by Louisa May Alcott, was her next directorial effort. It would be difficult to match the critical and commercial success that was Lady Bird, but Gerwig managed to pull it off. On a budget of $40 million, the film grossed $219 million, and was again met with universal acclaim, and earned 6 nominations at the Academy Awards. But it was July of 2023 when Gerwig really found mass appeal with Barbie, starring Margot Robbie. Now, Barbie herself has had an interesting road to the big screen. Gerwig was not the first, second, or even third choice. The movie had cycled through actors, writers, and directors like clockwork, until the team of Gerwig and Robbie finally came together. The film is a phenomenon. It broke the $1 billion mark just a couple of weeks after its release, and was met with critical acclaim, and Gerwig became the first female director to have a movie break $1 billion at the box office. With the $100 million budget, it was Gerwig's most expensive film to date, and she knocked it out of the park. Gerwig has comfortably moved into the big leagues after more than a decade of putting in the work. The question still remains: Barbie was so big, how will she top it? Her next works include writing a Snow White adaptation for Disney, to be directed by Mark Webb, and to write and direct 2 Chronicles of Narnia films for Netflix. I'm interested to see how these turn out, especially the Narnia films. I think Gerwig has a long career ahead of her, and I'm excited to see where she goes. But what about you? I'm curious to know what you think about Gerwig's previous directorial efforts, as well as her future.